I used to think that marriage matured like wine, richer, deeper with time. That once the thrill and chaos of the early years faded, something more stable would take its place. I clung to that belief for too long. But somewhere between grocery lists and polite check-ins, love between me and Patrick dried up into a quiet, civilized indifference. We weren't fighting. We weren't affectionate either. We had simply drifted into separate orbits under the same roof. We still shared a bed. Technically. But I couldn't remember the last time we'd accidentally brushed hands while reaching for the same blanket, or if we ever had. He was asleep before I got in and gone before I woke. Our home was neat, functional. The bills were paid, the lawn mowed. From the outside, everything looked fine. But inside, I felt like a ghost floating through a house I no longer recognized. I became most aware of that emptiness when my stepson, Ethan, moved back in for the summer. He'd just finished his first year of grad school and needed a place to stay while working an internship in the city. I told myself it would be good. Maybe the house would feel full again, even if temporarily. And for a while, it did. Ethan brought noise, laughter, and the scent of late-night snacks back into the kitchen. He filled the silence. I found myself lingering near the rooms he was in, listening to his stories, laughing too loudly at his jokes. He wasn't the boy I remembered. He'd grown into someone self-assured, thoughtful, his presence magnetic in a way that caught me off guard. And sometimes, just sometimes, I caught him looking at me in a way that sent a slow burn through my chest. I hated how it made me feel. Ashamed. Excited. Seen. I'd shake it off, blame it on the isolation of a quiet marriage, on the years I'd spent being more roommate than wife. Nights became the hardest. Lying in bed next to Patrick, hearing his soft snores while I stared at the ceiling wide awake, I realized I hadn't been touched, not really touched, in years. I didn't want anything extravagant. I just wanted to be desired. A glance that lingered. A hand that searched for mine without purpose. I wanted to be wanted. Was that too much to ask? One night, Patrick left for yet another work trip. No hug. No goodbye. Just a brief mention over breakfast and a disappearing car in the driveway. I found myself downstairs, scrolling mindlessly through my phone while Ethan was sprawled on the couch watching TV. We shared snacks. Talked about old movies. Laughed too easily at things that weren't that funny. As I got up to go to bed, he reached out and caught my wrist, playfully, teasingly, but he didn't let go right away. His fingers were warm, steady. I smiled, laughed it off, made some excuse. But my skin burned where he touched me. That night, I lay wide awake, my thoughts spinning in directions they shouldn't have gone. And when I heard footsteps pause near my bedroom door, I froze. Eyes shut. Pretending. Hoping. Dreading. The next morning, everything was normal. He smiled over his coffee like nothing happened. I smiled back, pretending I hadn't replayed that moment a dozen times already. But something had shifted. I wasn't sure what. The days dragged. Every accidental touch in the kitchen, every passing look, felt loaded. Charged. My whole body was on edge. And then, one night, I came downstairs to find him alone on the couch, the glow of the TV casting soft shadows across his face. He looked vulnerable. Not like the confident young man he pretended to be, but someone who was just as lost as I felt. I sat beside him, without a word. The silence between us felt impossibly loud. Our knees touched. My breath caught. His voice, when it came, was soft. "I'm sorry," he whispered. I should have shut it down. I should have built a wall. But instead, I said, "You're not the only one." His hand found mine, and this time, I didn't pull away. Our lips met. Not tender. Not careful. It was raw and urgent and desperate. All the loneliness we'd buried exploded between us. It wasn't love. Not really. But it was real. It was fire in a house that had grown cold. We broke apart breathless, wide-eyed. I felt guilt slam into me like a wave, but beneath it was something electric, something I hadn't felt in years. I pressed my forehead to his and whispered, "Oh, we can't." He nodded. Said nothing. Just stood and left the room. I sat there alone, surrounded by the flicker of the television, listening to the stillness of the night. The world outside hadn't changed, but something inside me had, permanently. I didn't know what tomorrow would bring. Whether would pretend it never happened. Or if it would happen again. All I knew was that, for the first time in years, I felt awake. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to let that feeling go again. Not even if I should.